That you went into IIM thinking you'll go into a marketing company and you came out as a marketing person.
Cluster formation is actually done on the students' interest, but I was just tired after 2 years of MBA. So I would go to the market every day, talk to salon managers, hairdressers, customers, try to understand, why they were buying products or why they were not buying certain products, and then try to understand.
I just took it and I said, I love this job. I did summer internship. ठीक है, हरियाणा में धूल मिट्टी में we did all that, but that's fine. I mean, I don't mind that as a career.
Where the companies, they come in based on which cluster they belong to. Like, for example, consulting, IB, they all come in on the first day. It's cluster one.
Your placements and summers, were they in the same company? How does that work? I mean, most of the IIMs are similar, but still, I'm Ahmedabad mein. How is it nowadays? Do you have days 0, 1, 2, and all that?
Well, we don't really call them as days. We follow this cluster process where the companies, they come in based on which cluster they belong to. Like, for example, consulting, IB, they all come in on the first day, which is cluster one. Then you have sales and marketing coming on the second day, which is cluster two. And then you have like product companies, tech companies, and everyone else coming on cluster three. And for my internship, I interned at L'Oreal in their Mumbai office in sales and marketing.
That you went into IIM thinking you'll go into a marketing company and you came out as a marketing person. Yeah. But in terms of clusters, remind me which company are you with
I'm with
now?
this firm called Simon-Kucher. It's a German.
So Simon-Kucher, was it clustered with consulting or
No,
clustered with
consulting.
marketing?
It was on.
So they were clustered. And consulting is before marketing companies come in, or how does that
Yes.
work?
So first it's consulting and IB, and then it's sales and marketing, and then it's product and tech and other roles.
In our times, they used to be day 0, 1, and 2. That day one company were like bigger companies in whatever field. It doesn't matter. Finance, marketing, consulting, whatever. If you're of a certain level. So now if I think about it, when does Unilever come? When does Procter and Gamble come to campus? Is it clustered with the marketing companies or do they get in earlier?
It's with the marketing companies. So there have been cases where companies, they sort of said, oh no, we are consulting, we are like, even though we do tech consulting, we're still consulting. So they would fight for the first day, but then the campus would tell them, no, you are still a tech company, you come with the C3 or the cluster 3 with the other product companies.
I mean, I'm quite glad actually that companies are getting clustered based on interest and sectors. Because yeah, I've seen people just because it's day one and they get placed, and every IM has their rules that if you get placed, you either take it or leave it, and so on. People have not gotten into a career of their choice, and some people I know in their batch, 2 years in IM, they were marketing people or finance people, but they got into something else, and they've been in that sector ever since. Maybe they started liking it, maybe they're stuck in it, who
I
knows.
was just going to say another thing that's interesting about this entire process is this cluster formation is actually done on the student's interest. So 2 months or a month before the placements, we are given a form to fill what domain we want to get into, and then the placement is sort of they consolidate it and they see which domain has the highest interest, and that becomes cluster one. But historically, everyone wants to get into consulting, so they all mark consulting as their top preference. So then consulting IB, it becomes cluster one. So this can actually change when you think about it. So let's say like 400 students, they've all said they want to get into sales and marketing. Then sales and marketing will become cluster one. So it's a very student friendly placement process.
Got it. And so you were always a marketing, which is cluster 3 person. Did you apply to anything? Cluster 1, cluster XYZ?
So you can apply to at as many firms as you're eligible for based on the firm's requirements. But really, at the end of the day, it depends on the shortlist if you get it or not. For my summers, I didn't really have any consulting shortlist. I only had one. But then the offer that I got, I rejected it. And then I sat for the C2, cluster 2. And then the first interview I went into was another firm. I held the offer and I went to L'Oreal's interview and I picked it up. Because again, I come from a fashion background and L'Oreal seemed very, I thought it'd be glamorous.
Yeah. And what was your project, your summer internship project there?
I was working with this brand called Kérastase. They're a hair care, luxury hair care brand. So I had to increase or strategize ways to increase market penetration by 10 to 15%. So I would go to the market every day, talk to salon managers, hairdressers, customers, try to understand, why they were buying products or why they were not buying certain products, and then try to understand the sales data in what salons, which product is sold the most, or how the movement is, and then come up with strategies for that.
I mean, what about like companies, like big companies like Unilever, P&G, Nestle, Cadbury's, Colgate, all the, are they not sought after anymore?
They are one of the most sought after sales and marketing companies. That was the plan, but since consulting comes on the first day, the C1, I got placed, and there's of course an option to dream, but I was just tired after 2 years of MBA. I really didn't even want to do another day of like prepping for anything. I was just tired, and I just said, you know what, I will take this, and I will just be happy with it. I'll
You know,
make
I
it.
can totally relate to being tired. I'll tell you what. Um when I was telling you I got a PPO, right? And the PPO was a conditional PPO that I have to opt out of placements.
Oh, okay.
And I was told, "Ki boss, you shouldn't take this PPO because you will get a better placement offer based on XYZ reasons." And I was like, "Hey, boss, am I mad? I will go through that whole stress about 2 3 days of placements. Bird in hand is." I just took it and I said, "You know what? I love this job. I did summer internship out there. I love the people. ठीक है, हरियाणा में धूल मिट्टी में we did all that, but that's fine. I mean, I don't mind that as a career, but that was me, right? Everyone has a different perspective. But I completely understand when you're saying take it and just quit while you're ahead. Is how does it work in IIM Ahmedabad, especially now? Is if you get an offer, do you have to opt out of placements? Can you, because we used to have things like abeyance and all that. I mean, some fancy words. How does it work now? If you get an offer, can you still participate in unlimited companies?
Well, I'll let me outline the process for you. So, how it works is one day before placements, you sort of rank the list of companies you've got a short list from. So, let's say you have a short list from QS Nestle. One would put HUL as rank number one, and Nestle as rank number two, and the other companies so on based on their interest. And the same process is done by the firm as well. They rank candidates based on their preference, and the placement for placement committee they match this. So based on this matching, your interview scheduling happens. So let's say you were ranked lower on a company's list, but then yeah, you run company the company but then the company was higher on your list, which means your like interview would take place much later during the day, right? So then let's say you go into a Nestle interview, you have the offer. What you can do right now is you can either accept the offer and then close the placement process and then go back and sleep, or you can choose to do something called a hold, where you can sit for interviews for the companies that you have ranked over your current offer. And there's also another thing called dream, where at the end of the cluster process, if you have an offer that's standing, you can keep it, but you can also choose to dream to other companies in the other clusters. And this is capped at one or two, and there are certain criteria, but the max I think it's two. So let's say so let's say if you're an offer from C1, just the consulting ID domain. So in C2, you can dream to any two of the companies that you think you will get a shortlist from. So it's like, a shot in the dark. You may or may not get. But the only thing here, catch here, is that if you sit for the interview and if you get the offer, it's auto accept. There's no hold, nothing. You let go of the one that you already have, and then you go with this. There's no like I will choose later. So when you're making that choice to dream, it has to be like a proper, well thought of choice.